Ay, 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 ay.
I heard you can help me. I want you to be my teacher.
Welcome to the path, brother. We are bound through love, honesty. Have you showered since you last masturbated?
Do not deny me.
Hey everyone! So a very common issue among not just low elo players, but even up to challenger players, is dying really dumb deaths by refusing to play safe for just a few seconds. This is something that most players struggle with, and if you become an expert at it, not only will you avoid your own deaths, but you'll be able to start seeing patterns to punish people when they're playing terribly. Speaking of terrible gameplay, you may also want to stick around to see the true colors of one of our experts that you learned from. You won't believe that we actually pay this guy. Alright, we're coining this the 5-second rule. It's the best way to avoid silly deaths, and it's really simple. If you ever spot a situation where you're in immediate danger, just back off for around 5 seconds. This may sound incredibly obvious, but you'd be surprised at how many people die to not doing this. Players tend to want to win 100% of the time. This just isn't possible in almost every competitive game ever. There are points where your opponent will have the advantage, and having the mental discipline to back off is literally all that's required. The only hard part is knowing when to back off versus each champion, but it's usually really obvious. For example, if Renekton has close to or 100 Fury, you should probably back off. If Vladimir is on his 3rd Q, if Fior's passive spawns facing her, if Jax has his passive stacked, etc. Ideally, you try to prevent these conditions from happening, but they're bound to happen eventually, and unless you are incredibly ahead, you shouldn't fight a champion who is at their strongest. Alright, let's show you exactly what we mean.
Fear the assassin.
We'll be reviewing
no
a few
master.
games of one of our experts, Hector, playing on his Diamond Smurf. In this game, he's playing Irelia. Since Irelia is such a popular champion, everyone should know that she excels when her passive is fully stacked, giving her a ton of damage. With that in mind, let's watch how Hector plays out this lane to make short work of the enemy Kled. As the lane begins, Hector is immediately trying to stack up his passive. He makes sure to queue every low health creep possible. Now, he enters a tough situation. If he queues this minion, he'll be in melee range of Kled, who should have his bear trap up by now, which could result in taking a lot of damage. So Hector goes for the 50-50 read. He queues the minion, but immediately queues back through Kled, reading that Kled would immediately throw out his bear trap as he dashed in. This was a great read by Hector. Kled would immediately throw out his bear trap, queues the minion, but immediately queues back through Kled, reading that Kled would immediately throw out his bear trap as he dashed in. This was a great read by Hector, which results in a solid trade and accomplishes his goal of stacking his passive. The problem is that his Q is now on cooldown, so the only way to maintain his stacks is to auto-attack Kled. Kled should know this, so if he backs off and lets Hector's passive fall by not fighting him for just 5 seconds, he could try to regain lane control afterwards, since Aurelia, with and without passive, is an entirely different champion. So what does Kled do? Well, he continues to trade, allowing Aurelia's passive to stay up. Despite his continued trading versus a 5-stack Aurelia, the trades actually go fairly even, so Kled isn't even doing too bad. But these trades do give Hector lane control, and he's approaching level 2. Therefore, all Kled has to do is play safe for a brief period of time, since the wave is shoving into him very hard and he's not going to miss any CS. So what does Kled do? Well, he watches as a fully stacked level 2 Aurelia casually walks up to him and kills him. So while Hector did play this out fairly well, almost everything that he did was ridiculously telegraphed, and if Kled had just played safe for literally 5 seconds a couple of times during the lane, he wouldn't have died a minute into laning phase and would still be there CSing and getting XP. So champion specific power points can sometimes be a bit trickier. Let's watch another game to see what we mean. Let's add a bit of context to this one. Supposedly, this Smurf account is the one Hector uses to test his limits. This is his excuse for playing aggressively at 3 minutes versus a Rek'Sai jungle, which costs him his flash. It's also why he gets repeat ganked a few minutes later, playing aggressively with no wards while his flash is down. This is actually a great tip for solo queue. If you're ever feeding a game, just say you're limit testing and it removes all accountability from your actions and preserves your ego at the same time. Because he's playing like a moron, Hector is quite behind Ryze, a champion that you definitely don't want to fall behind versus. Hector comes back to lane to find a frozen wave. This is pretty bad spot to be in as a melee champion versus a Ryze and Rek'Sai. Thankfully, Ryze decides that it's important to break his own freeze for absolutely zero reason, shoving the wave back into a Yasuo. This is another common problem that players face. It's okay to make a mistake like shoving the wave into Yasuo, just make sure that you don't double down on your mistakes and make matters even worse. Let's break down the situation Ryze has placed himself into. He's allowed the waves to crash in an ideal area for Hector to dash through and initiate a trade. Not only that, but look at the minimap. There's a blue minion wave approaching, and since minion waves are mirrored, there's a red one coming up as well, which Hector can use to extend a trade. This is an incredibly specific timing for Yasuo to turn all in, yet Ryze continues to play up on the lane, handing the free all in to Hector for no reason, resulting in his death.
They can't
As
stop
evil
me.
grows, so shall I.
So what should Ryze have done? I think you know the answer. He should accept that he messed up and play safe for literally 5 seconds, even if it means giving up this cannon minion. That way, the wave that was coming crashes and Hector's trade would end here since he's already used EM Ryze and there'd be no way to extend the all-in. Not only that, but Rek'Sai was clearly coming. If Ryze stays alive for 5 more seconds, Hector 100% falls for a bait and dies to another gank. Alright, on to the next game. Just like last game, let's give a bit of context.
Cold Steel and
Hector
a
dies
target
to another
are all I
3-minute
need.
gank without vision. How unexpected. He teleports back, fights Alawi, but greeds and doesn't use his flash, leaving them both very low.
Minions have spawned.
I'm not here to make friends. If they're smart, they're scared. Still time for you to do the smart thing. Go home. I'm right here. I am my own master. You're gonna bleed.
Executed.
The old ways just don't work. I work alone. It's better for everyone. I love what I do. My enemies won't.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Has been slain.
No one can do it.
Have been slain. Has been slain.
I got a pack full of trouble and nothing but time.
An enemy has been slain.
They can't stop me. I mean, they could try. Okay.
Killing.
Let's have some fun.
You have slain an enemy.
That's right. Payback hits hard. Cold steel and a turret are all I need. should have run. I'm not here to make friends.
Unstoppable.
If they're smart, they're scared. Let's go.
An ally has been slain.
I am my own master, just the way I like it.
Dominating.
Old ways just don't work.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
I work alone. It's better for everyone. I love what I do. My enemies won't.
An enemy has been slain.
No one tells me what to do. Not anymore. There are over 300 protections on the human body. No one can protect them alone. I got a pack full of trouble and nothing but time. They can't stop me. Thanks, big fat. Cold steel and a target are all I need. I'm not here
Godlike.
If they're smart, they're scared.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Everyone's got a weakness. That's my strength. The Fist of Shadows is unique. I do things differently. I love what I do. Magic's fine. Steel's better. No one tells me what to do. Not anymore. I got a pack full of trouble and nothing but time. Get back. target are all I need. They're smart, they're scared. I'm my own master, just the way I like it. So many enemies, so many knives. I work alone. It's better for everyone. It's the cost. No one tells me what to do. Not anymore. I got a pack full of trouble and nothing but time. See ya! They can't stop. I am so trouble. I'll make this look like magic.
Ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
I'm not here to make friends. There's someone. There's I am my own master, just the way I like it.
An ally has been slain.
Finally, let's do this. If you look dangerous, you better be dangerous. I work around it. Better for everyone. Try to keep up.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Take one life at a time. Fast, clean. I can do this all. packed full of trouble and nothing
Your
but
turret
terror.
has been destroyed.
Flame purified.
An enemy has been slain.
They never get tired of dying.
I'm not here to make friends. They're smart. They're scared.
Your turret has been destroyed.
I work alone. It's better for everyone. This won't take long. No one Restraint's not really my thing.
The enemy's inhibitor is respawning soon.
So Vi casually kills him again. Then this happens.
To the late game kind of drafts, as we do see on the opposite side, Yuumi Aphelios Azir Rek'Sai, I feel like is the one thing that does stand out there, and Ornn for some extra scaling.
And the thing about the Rek'Sai is there for helping with early game potency, as well as converting stuff into the middle stages of the game.
Yeah. So guys, we are going to jump into game number 1 right now of the Spring 2020 final. Let's do it. Here we go, guys. No fan chants, they're just cardboard, but they're here supporting anyway, as we do have T1 up against Gen G for our first matchup here. And as you did mention, lots of scaling on both sides. Will we just see a relatively calm early game, or is anyone going to try to rock the boat a little bit and try to get this early lead here?
Well, it's going to be Infernal Dragon to kick things off, as both teams just playing relatively defensive. It is going to be the Comet on Teddy, so it is going to be the long-range poke Varus, and that's going to cause some problems for Gen G, because the Corki and the Varus, even the Graves in the later stages with their range is going to be problematic for Gen G to actually fight against once this game goes the distance. So Gen G are the ones that are likely going to end up being on a clock. Graves doesn't need to get ahead early because he's going to have more usage for the team fights than, say, a Rek'Sai would. And that's one of the sore thumbs that's really sticking out in terms of the draft right now. So while T1 has all 5 champions that are going to be really effective in the later stage team fights, Gen G are going to realistically have about 4.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see Clid trying to go for big knock-up engages, perhaps, into a backline, maybe try to catch one of their squishy underbelly 80 carries, maybe the Varus if he can get there, but as you did mention, he's not going to be too happy as Cuz coming in here just casually going to steal away a bunch of popcorn chicken.
Oh.
As BDD is making a little run to put down a ward. He did not expect to see Cuz here as over the wall goes Cuz. Do they have the damage? The flash forward, and there it is. First blood immediately given to Cuz at 2.5 minutes already.
Yeah, and so now Cuz, he's going to help Faker shove out the lane. The Faker doesn't have the wave clear to do so. BDD obviously has teleport. We pan over to topside, and you can see Rek'Sai not going to be able to find any sort of a gank. Kana is extremely healthy. Now BDD is going to get all of that solo XP, but down here in bot lane, Teddy and Effort, they're just going to crash, and I think they're going for a cheater recall. So lots of things happening here in this game. As we just take a look at the replay, pretty easy kill by Cuz. There's no way for BDD to really escape this.
Yep. Flash comes forward, a little bit of extra damage with the Phosphorus Bomb. As the last hit does go the way of Graves. Something to keep in mind, that late game Graves could be intensely scary as this game does come along. We did see a bit of a recall on the bottom side, but I'm not sure that they actually went for it because they're still down there and no other items were purchased. So perhaps canceling that recall just to update current state of the bottom lane. As Cuz, after picking up that casual first blood, just going to go back and farm it out.
So Rascal doing a pretty good job in the CS department up here against the Sylas, also maxing W, so not going to be going for the Q max and trying to just play a poke war against the Sylas, as we've seen some Orns attempt to do inside of the matchup. And Cuz is just going to keep power farming his Graves and basically say, this is fine. My laners don't need to win. Inaction is action for all of them because they don't have an obligation to make any pressure or plays happen. As long as they're going even, they're winning. And so creates a lot of pressure on the side of Gen G, who typically probably wouldn't be feeling that way when you consider we have Yuumi, Aphelios, Azir, and Ornn. Those are all massive scaling champions. But T1's team compositionally in the later stages has more gears available.
Yeah, I mean, you just think about the way that the draft went. It was scaling pick, double scaling pick, and then T1 comes back with 2 scaling picks, and it's like, oh, okay. You know, it's clear that both of these teams are prioritizing one thing over the other when it does come to the draft. As we're taking a look here at some of the jungler stats for what does count. Kana might be in a little bit of trouble here, forced to flash the wall, but BDD still on the chase. We got an Ornn from the top side too, and now Kana, he does not have his flash, and soon he does not have his life, as 3 people will collapse and take it out. A kill earned here by Rascal.
Yeah, and that's a really big kill for the Ornn to end up getting. Helps him move towards his items. He's going to make the most out of it in regards to how these lane phases play out. Azir and Corki, you're mostly just going to be playing ping pong. So even if Azir gets that, it's not the most impactful. Rek'Sai getting it, not the most impactful. But Ornn heading towards core item completions really does change the dynamic of the top lane matchup, as Scryer Plant does end up getting hit here. And remember, Infernal Drake